And I'm back, guys. So I wanted to make a quick little video because I see a lot of people coming out and I see a lot of comments about how people, now that they have seen Pixneel's kit and how many books it takes and everything else, that they are going to be skipping the fusion. So I just wanted to go through and look at her kit. I did say I wasn't going to look through her kit in the last two videos I just released because we kind of looked over it, but it kind of slipped my mind that we didn't look at how many books she was going to take. And so she does need a lot of books, guys. So going over to her books, she needs a total of 18 books. And so we're going to see if these 18 books are even worth it to put into her, or if she like actually needs them. So on her A1, we have the attack one enemy has a 30% chance of placing a Veil buff on a random ally for one turn. Cannot place the Veil buff on this champion. So A1 isn't so like critical or anything. Typically, that's where your books are going to land, unfortunately. And it will go up to a 50% chance to apply that veil. And this is going to require 6 books by itself. Then you have her A2, place a 60% increased defense buff and 15% continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns. Then attacks all enemies under freeze debuff. Places a 25% weaken debuff for 2 turns on all enemies under freeze. So this only requires 2 books, and you can get this down to a 3-turn cooldown, which I think this is a pretty critical ability of hers, just because it does do the increased defense buff and continuous heal. She is a support champion, so that's exactly what she's meant to be doing. The whole attack all enemies under freeze, so this requires people to be under a freeze debuff. So if you're maybe running people with a freeze ability like Gurgo or maybe Jingle Hunter or something like that, or Shuramani, I believe, can freeze as well. Or you get into her A3, which we'll jump into in a second, but pretty much like the weaken only being applied to the frozen targets is kind of a weak section of this ability. But mainly you're going to be looking at the increased defense and the continuous heal. If you can land 2 books in here, that'd be great. But yeah. And then her A3, attack 5 times at random. Each hit has a 30% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn. And then has a 100% chance of placing a freeze debuff on enemies that receive 2 hits. Okay, so pretty much like I think we kind of predicted, this was going to go up to 50% when booked. And you can drop it down to 4 turns. So the big thing with this is you can freeze some targets. Isn't reliable to really freeze. I mean, each hit does have a 50% chance to freeze, so not too bad. And then obviously if RNG you hit an enemy twice, it's gonna definitely freeze. But it's at a chance, right? So you first have to hit those targets, and then you also have a chance to freeze. So the fact that this percentage is only a 50% is kind of demoralizing on this effect. But yeah, she is kind of book dependent in this section because you definitely want a higher chance than 30%. And then you have her passive. Whenever an enemy places a freeze debuff on an ally, has a 20% chance of stealing the freeze, which can be booked up to 35%, and placing it on this champion instead has a, once again, 40% chance on this one of filling this champion's turn meter by 25% every time they receive a freeze debuff, and then has a 50% chance of removing any freeze debuffs from this champion at the start of every turn. If there are multiple champions in the team with this skill, only one will activate. So yes, all these percentages are very low compared to when they're booked. So I mean, overall, yes, she does seem very book dependent to get the most out of her. Now, if you can randomly get 2 books into Grip of Winter, which is I think where she's going to shine with the increased defense and the continuous heals, I think that would be good. But yeah, I mean, 18 books, especially legendary books, those don't come very often. And plus, you're probably wanting to use those legendary books on someone that is not as niche as Pyxniel. And the big thing also, we'll go ahead and look at the epics again. So we had Undead Horde, we had Balthus Draglord. All these champions, all the epics that are going to be in this are pretty dang good, guys. And so, I mean, this guy, I wrote down the books. This guy needs 15 books, but they're epics. Still a lot of books. And like in general, I looked over everyone in that was added into this update, and there are a lot of people that need a lot of books, including the rares. So I mean, you have 15 on this guy. You have, let's see, the Banner Lords have, I think this guy needed 14 books on him. All damage, cooldown reduction, more damage. This guy needed 13 books. So yeah, I mean, overall, and then the dwarf actually needed the least amount of books, and he just seems very good, especially being a void epic. I mean, you can't argue with that, but he needs 11 books, it looks like. This is his major one I think he's going to need. But yeah, so overall, yeah, I understand why people are going to kind of maybe not fuse Pixneel. A lot of people are talking about putting their resources into something else, and so I understand the, like, when it comes to the fusion overall, if you're prepping, you're not putting those resources like the potions and all that type of stuff. It's not that big of a deal, food wise and whatnot. I think a lot of people are talking about resources in the form of legendary books. Legendary books are very hard to come by. You have a lot of champions that you want to book out. And so, like, for me, like, I would actually, because I'll be using Vergum Car in Doom Tower, I'm looking at booking him out, and he requires 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 books. And I mean, we thought 13 books was a lot. So, I mean, Pyxniel having 18 and her being very, very reliant on them because all her percentages are so low. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would definitely say if you're not needing her, if you like, because for me, it'd be like more of like a nice to have collective type thing. I don't know if I'd book her. I would probably just fuse her, even though that does mean I'm losing my Void Dwarf. So, I might rethink this. I don't know. For me, it's more about just collecting her for the most part. But yeah, definitely take a look at her though. Make sure you guys really, really want her if you're going to go for her. Otherwise, I would definitely say the epics included in this fusion are definitely worth keeping. Two of them being Banner Lords, very accessible Banner Lords. Another dwarf is always good. Undead didn't really need any more champions, but hey, he's actually a really cool designed champion. And even some of these rares are pretty cool. So even though the rares by themselves, you had Dagger that needed 16 books. You have Tiger Soul that needs 19. Roughstone needed 13. Gear Grinder needed 13. Panthera needed 17. Pig Sticker, wherever she's at right here, needed 13. And then Deep Heart needed 18. So all of these champions just in general need a lot of books. Rare books are definitely hard to find as well. I mean, no books are easy to find. So I definitely get the concern behind this. But yeah, just make sure that you won't need her. Like I said, she'll be useful in niche areas, PvP, and mainly the Frostbiter for Doom Tower. Unless you're trying to go for, you know, a very big frozen comp to control your way through the floors. Yeah, guys, just keep to the epics at that point. But yeah, that's my reasoning for wanting to go after it, is just more of a collection thing. Maybe I'll use her in the future, but yeah, just want to make a quick video, guys, on, you know, what I'm seeing from other people in comments and other videos I've seen coming out. So yeah, who knows, I might change my mind. I'll keep you guys updated, but I do have all the resources to do this with all the pots and the pieces of food, so I'm not worried about that part. But yeah, booking her is going to be a little bit rough if I decide to do that. So just want to come out here and say that real quick, but I will see you guys later. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys are totally passing on actually fusing her and you're just going to keep the epics, because epics are looking good. And let me know actually what your favorite epic is as well. So yep, just want to make a quick video, and I will talk to you guys later. See ya.